So this isn't one of those typical books that I do read, but my curiosity kind of got the best of me, right? And I picked it up and I read it and I was impressed. Now, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. Today, I'm doing a book review for you guys on a book called Wealth Made Easy by Dr. Reid. So hold on, stick tight, and we're going to get this book review started. So Wealth Made Easy, right? You think it's going to be one of those books, follow step 1 through 9, and you're going to have $1 million. Well, this isn't that kind of book, and I wouldn't give out that kind of book at all because I don't believe in any of that stuff. So I'm sorry, guys, if that's what you're looking for. That's not at all what this book is. But this book had some great ideas, some great perspectives that I think could really benefit you. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do here at Discover Ignite, and find those things, those ideas, those thoughts that can help improve your life. And it's not something that I try to incorporate in my life myself, right? I'm not just giving out advice or information that I haven't tried myself, right? But this particular book, it had some great insight. Right now, Dr. Reid, he actually interviewed a bunch of millionaires and billionaires and tried to find those common things, right, that really help these people grow, right, grow their money, become wealthy, and what they had in common. Right now, I've read a lot of Napoleon Hill books, and Napoleon Hill had a lot of great thoughts and ideas, and I love a lot of his books. And this is one of those first books I've read by Reid, and it was actually really good, right? It was kind of along the same kind of lines of Napoleon Hill. Now, Napoleon Hill is a classic author, and I really enjoy a lot of his stuff. And so this particular book had, again, some great information in it, right? It had some information, a lot of things that really stuck with me through this book was the fact that, you have to be really persistent, right? You have to really push yourself to want to become wealthy ultimately, right? You can't expect things to just fall in your lap. And that's exactly what this book proves to you, that, 1 out of 26, right? 1 out of 26 times, if you have a product, right, you're going to have essentially 25, 26 failures before you have that one breakthrough product that essentially will, develop wealth for you. And this book, doesn't just talk about, producing products or anything like that. It just gives you a lot of concepts about how you can become wealthy, right? And that's ultimately what I really enjoyed about this, because I have read a lot of entrepreneurial books, and they, a lot of them give you thoughts and ideas, and I think that's ultimately what's going to help, right? Because you can't give black and white answers, because what works for somebody isn't going to work for everybody, and the way they approached it isn't going to essentially help you, right? Essentially attain wealth in that same fashion. But if you can essentially transition these thoughts, these ideas, these perspectives to change your perspective a little bit, it will help. And that's the thing I've learned just about perspective change, is that if you can obtain other perspectives, you get this new mass variety of different options to go after and try, right? Because of the fact that you essentially are trying to expand your horizon, right, and understand all the different options that are out there. And by reading books like this, right, and understanding how these people have created their millions or billions of dollars, is by seeking specific things, right? And it goes through a bunch of different thoughts and ideas, perspectives on what to do, right, what to look for, what to find that people are struggling with, and go for that. And to know that a lot of different things, it can seem really daunting and really hard, but you have to be persistent, right? And you have to really look and try and realize that, yeah, you're going to fail. There's going to be a lot of failures along the way, but as long as you're persistent, as long as you have the ambition to want to be wealthy, right? Now, I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, you need to be wealthy. I'm also not the kind of person that's like, money is the root of all evil. I've always felt like money was a tool. Money can help you obtain freedom ultimately, right? Because that's what you want in life, is to have the freedom to do it is what you want, and however that may be, right? Because it's different for everybody. But money in itself, wealth in itself will get you that, right? And that tool will get you there. And so that's why that's why I wanted to share this book, because I think it was really insightful, especially if you're the kind of person that's trying to pull yourself out of, whatever rut you're in, because I talk about that a lot, and focusing on something positive and essentially trying to better your life, right? And if you can do that by changing your perspective when it comes to money and building wealth, right, for yourself, right? Because that's one of the biggest stresses we have in life. And if we are struggling to pay the rent or struggling to pay for certain things, it can lead to a lot of bad things in life, right? It essentially bleeds over into everything. It bleeds over into your relationships, whether that's with your family or your spouse or your kids, right? All that stuff bleeds into there because you are extremely stressed out. You don't know where money's coming from, where in fact, if you realize that money is actually in abundance, it's just getting the right perspective to shift in your mind and start executing on things, that you'll get there, right? You'll get there eventually. And this book really did that. Now, I've read a lot of entrepreneurial books, right? But this one was different. It has such good perspective shifts, and especially in a short book, that it really got me thinking about stuff, right? Like, it's one of those books I probably actually need to read again, because I did enjoy it so much that I was like, man, the book is over already. Like the perspectives were so good, right? And so, full of insightful information about what to look for and how to look for it, and shift your perspective ultimately. And again, realizing that there's always more options out there, and you kind of get in this vicious cycle, right? Once you realize that you can get a new perspective shift and it can completely change your life, you look for those new perspective shifts, right? And this is one of those ones where you're like, wow, you can really do that. And it seems easy, right? The concept of it seems easy, but yes, a lot of things do take, testing, right? Trial and error until you tweak it just right, and then that particular thing takes off and builds you wealth to be able to free yourself up to do those things that you want. So as far as like any cons to this book, I think again, the biggest con for this book for myself was just the fact that it was short, right? I was really getting into the book. I was really liking different perspectives and the different ideas, which I've never heard before. And a lot of books like this, financial books or entrepreneurial books, right? They focus on like do step 1 through 2 and do all these steps, and it's like, it's more about the perspective. That's ultimately what's going to help you. It's ultimately what's going to pull you through, because if you follow steps 1 through 10, when something random occurs, right, that 1 through 10 is not going to help you. There's not an extra step. There's not a bonus tip that's going to help you get through that step, right? You're going to have to figure it out by yourself. And yes, a lot of the guidelines do help, but it's good to have that structure, but ultimately it's going to come down to your thought process, your thinking, your critical thinking, and pulling yourself through, right? But if you have that perspective, you realize that there's other places you can look, and that's what really helps. So if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to hit that like button. Also, I will leave this book down in the description if you guys are interested. And until next time, I will see you guys later.